welcome. Here you are at Brittany's Book Talk, where we are going to talk about books, we are going to talk about boyfriends, we are going to talk about exes, and we're going to talk about crazy people. And I am one of them. This is not a place for negativity. I will not tolerate it. This book, I fucking hated it. Okay, I could not understand what was going on for the first couple chapters. Couldn't get into the fantasy world. I personally love fantasy. I love getting to escape reality because who wants to be here? I don't, which is why I read. So definitely not one of my favorite books. I know that this whole series gets a whole bunch of love. Not it. Moving on. A Court of Mist and Fury. This book, I finished it in 4 hours at my kitchen table. Loved it, devoured it. Freaking chef's kiss, okay? Loved this book. I loved it so much. I loved Farah so much. She was more, I could relate to her more. I mean, I don't live in a fantasy land, but I could relate to her more than I could relate to her in the first book. Now, A Court of Wings and Ruin. I cried majority of this book. Bawled my eyes out. It was so ugly. Ugly crying. I loved Rysand. Fuck Tamlin. I love Farah. I love Farah and Rysand's story together. I want to read this all over again. However, just these 3. It should have just been a trilogy, in my opinion. I did read A Court of Frost and Starlight. I liked it. I didn't love it. I liked getting to read from other people's point of view. I liked getting to read about other characters. However, I was dying to get more of Farah and Rysand. I was toxic. I just needed more between the two of them. I needed Tamlin to disappear. Not it. Just not it. I didn't read this book. I didn't read this book. I tried to read this book. I don't even think I got halfway before I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. It wasn't hitting for me. I wasn't enjoying it. I'm so sorry. Not my favorite series. If it had been a trilogy, maybe. Except I hated the first book because I couldn't understand what was going on. I was reading too much gibberish. So it wasn't doing it for me. However, the second and the third books, I died. I will be reading those again. Maybe I'll be skimming through this one. I don't know. I am a fantasy girly. Love fantasy, love a good love story, love a little enemies to lovers type of vibe. I was when I first started reading everything. I was just getting back into reading. So I haven't read a lot. I did read this book. I judged a book by its cover, 1000%. I was like, that's a really cool cover. I love the blue. I wonder what it's about. Had no idea what it was about. I loved it. I love Josh. Josh is my boyfriend. Josh will always be my boyfriend. I am Allie. Not in real life, but in this book, I'm Allie. I loved their love story. I loved the banter. I loved how sarcastic Josh was. I loved the mask theme. Girl, if you know, you know. And this really brought me down a rabbit hole. This opened my eyes. Nothing has topped it yet, I think, which is probably bad, but I'm also just starting. So bear with me. I will get there eventually. Have patience. But I loved this book. Loved it. So then, of course, after that book, I was like, sure, let's read Butcher and Blackbird and let's read Leather and Lark. In my personal opinion, I liked Butcher and Blackbird. It did not beat Lights Out for me. It was an interesting read. It It's probably not my cup of tea, to be honest. I liked it, but I didn't love it, so I probably wouldn't read it again. Probably wouldn't read it again. I don't know. Please be nice. I did read Haunting Adeline. I love her. I love her. H.D. Carlton, I love her. Adeline, I love her. Zaid, I love him. He is also my book boyfriend. Josh and him sometimes meet up with me. I loved the creepy vibes from him. I loved the stalker vibe. I loved how he was just obsessed with her. Be obsessed with me. Be obsessed with me. Push it to the point where I'm going to get a restraining order on you. Be obsessed with me. I loved this book. Loved this book. It's with Lights Out. Loved this book. I love them. Then, of course, I read Hunting Adeline, sorry. I'm illiterate. I personally loved this book over Haunting Adeline. I know they spent 2 months apart. I know she went through, what she went through was difficult. I could never, ever, and it's not even real, and I bawled like a baby for her. I screamed, I cried, I was tempted to throw my book. I could never go what she went through. Could never go through it. No. And I loved the character build for Adeline, and I loved the character build for Zaid. She can write. H.D. Carlton can write. I was on the edge of my seat waiting for Adeline to get her revenge. Like, I have never been a super aggressive person. Maybe I shouldn't say that. I haven't been a super aggressive person. I can be aggressive sometimes if I'm mad. I was ready to murder people for Adeline. Murder. I was like, pull this man out of the book. Let me do it for one, two, and we're done. Okay, maybe just one. Maybe I don't need to. But I loved this book so much. I probably loved it more than Haunting Adeline, and they didn't even get to spend majority of the book together. I don't know if everybody else felt that way or other people felt that way, but the character build in this book compared to the first book was just immaculate for me. I loved it so much. I will be reading these again. 100%. But later on, because I want to forget stuff that happened in the book so that I can read it all over again. I don't have a great memory, so that will probably be soon. I did read Where's Molly? I did also read Satan's Affair. Satan's Affair was okay. It wasn't my favorite. I did get to like reading about that character, but it didn't do it for me. Where's Molly? It was okay. Molly and Cade, it was okay. I mean, their chemistry in the bedroom, spicy. The plot of the book, there is none. None. Moving on. So after I read those, I did try to go down further into the rabbit hole of everything that's deep, dark, and delicious. And let's just say I'm a plot girly. I'm a love story girly. Because this book and this book, no ma'am. Ain't the one. Not for me. Read these two. After this one, I had to take a break. I have not finished the series. The Lord series I've been wanting to read for forever. And you're not going to make me obey you. What the hell does that mean? Sir, you are going to crawl to me, not the other way around. Moving on. So I did read Corrupt, and honestly, Michael and Rika, just not my favorite couple. Like, I liked the storyline. the couple could have had more, you know? Like, I don't remember when they fell in love. And you don't find out until later on that they've known each other forever. Or maybe you do, and I just completely like read over it, it didn't even register. They weren't my favorite. I did, however, like Corrupt more than Hideaway. It's dark. It's so dark. And Kai and Banks are not a power couple, in my opinion. I didn't love it. It wasn't my favorite. Kill Switch. Oh, he is my baby daddy. Okay, he is another book boyfriend. He's up there with Zayd and Josh, okay, and forever will be. I love Damon. I love Winter so much. Oh my God. The fact that she's blind. She's blind. She's blind. Penelope Douglas can write. She can write. She can put detail into a book. So where was the detail in this book? I'm sorry. I got a little carried away. But the detail in this book, I love them. I love Damon. I love Winter. I love their love story. I feel so bad for Damon and what he went through. Just, it's heart-wrenching. It is, you have to take a pause and just walk away. And finding out more about him later on and Rika, oh my God. But I loved this book. I loved this book. My favorite out of the series. Nightfall. Where was the moment? I missed it. I don't remember it. He dances on a table. Where? I remember reading it in this one. I don't remember reading it in this one. I needed more of a moment. However, I liked this book. I liked their love story, I guess. I mean, just kind of felt repetitive. It was not as gut-wrenching, like, pulling at your heartstrings as this one, in my opinion. I just think there was probably too much going on in the book. But, I mean, it's okay. I don't know. There was a lot in this book that happened. Some parts were a little too much for me. It just wasn't my favorite. So, and I did read the novellas. I liked the novellas. I liked getting to read more about Michael and Rika. I really did. I liked getting more of their storyline. I thought the novellas were cute. However, in my opinion, if we would have just added some of that to Michael and Rika's story in Corrupt, we wouldn't need the novella. Like, I don't know. And honestly, after Nightfall, I think they could have ended it. I don't think they needed that last book there. I just don't understand what the point of it was. So moving on from the Devil's Night series. Last, I read Does It Hurt? It did. It hurt reading this. It wasn't my favorite. Enzo and Sawyer are just toxic, in my opinion, which I get it from their backstories between what happened with her and her brother and what happened to Enzo with his mom. Like, you get why they're toxic. They didn't really learn how to be loved or to love somebody else. I personally don't think they love each other. I think they're just attached to somebody showing interest in one another. I don't think that anything they did together was out of love. And I'm sorry, but the scene on the boat with her head in the water, never. Ain't never gonna be me. You are never gonna do that to me. I am not going to find it hot. I didn't find it hot when I read it in the book. I wouldn't find it hot if it was done to me myself. Nope. You're not putting my head in the water. I'm sorry. Drowning me? No. Mm-mm. 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 I would have nightmares. I did have nightmares, actually. I had nightmares about this book, and it wasn't my favorite. But I still have Zade. I still have Josh. I still have Damon. And if I could find that freaking that scene with Will on the counter dancing to My Prerogative, I would have Will too. I'm very disappointed that I didn't get to read more about it because I saw so much about it online and I thought that it was a more detailed scene, but all I remember reading about it was from Kill Switch, not even from Will's point of view in his story. I don't know if I'm missing something, probably. I mean, like, to be honest with you, I listened to it on Audible. I've listened to most of these books on Audible. I like reading. I like hearing a man read to me. I like the deep voice. Okay, I do have to say, I know I'm off topic. Does it hurt? Listening to this on Audible, I don't remember the man's name that read this book. I'm so sorry. But he's so talented. The voices that he did in that book, I don't even remember what all of them were, but he was the pirate in it and his daughter, they were both crazy. And then him doing Enzo. Okay. Anyways, that concludes this session of my book talk. I hope to see you guys next time where we talk about more book boyfriends, more exes, more crazy people, and hopefully I will have more of a variety of books that I really enjoyed rather than books that I did not. I'm sorry that this session was so negative. Please be gentle with me. Don't do it so hard because I'm just starting. So I will get back to it and read a whole bunch of more books and see you next time.